217 Recovery Podcast.
If you don't make mistakes, you won't learn.
With your host, Corey Winfield.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm going into a place and there are going to be people like talking to walls, and there was some of that. But it was still pretty cool.
Co-host, Marnie Winfield.
And if they don't get that sincere messaging, then they're not going to have that conversation on a level where maybe you can get through to them.
With special guest, Mitchell O'Brien.
I really hate to do this to you guys, but I really have to go to the bathroom with that. I just can't hold it anymore.
And Corey Smoker.
Sometimes they assume all black people are from African America.
Got your ass.
It is the 14th of April, 2025. My name's Corey Winfield.
My name's Marnie Winfield.
Mitchell O'Brien.
And I'm Corey Smoker.
And we have to begin with we got to explain the drop again.
Why?
Africa, America. What are you talking about? Because people are like, what? How are they going to be? They're just racist. But it was a slip up.
Yeah, I did not mean it at all.
You and Marnie were at diversity training, right? Is that what it was?
Yes.
And you guys were talking about what you had learned that day, and you just kind of got in the heat of the moment.
I was kind of tired, and then I was just talking. I was excited to share what I had learned. Marnie had to go take care of the baby and left me out there with you and Jesse, and
That was her first mistake.
we should have paused.
She was speaking about misconceptions about different cultures and races.
And then she was misconceived. It's Isn't that how that? Is that the phrase? Obviously.
I mean, I think it is, but yeah.
And how long ago was that?
The first conference we went to when I started here, like a week and a half
September.
Like forever ago?
August, September. Yeah.
But I know, but it still makes the podcast, so we have to explain it. But no, we have some other explaining too, at least Mitchell does, because we had a crazy busy weekend with, family, and it's great to get out of the house and go places, but it's also nice to just kind of chill in one spot, huh, Mitch? And yep. Corey, you're getting a house, building it and trying to get it all put together, and so you're kind of busy and packing. And Mitch, what'd you do this weekend?
I chilled in one spot for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, I heard the story about. I'm in here early and putting stuff together, and I hear you talking about pulled out of something. I'm thinking like your car got stuck. I'm like, oh, well, Mitch, I had that truck, a little too much faith in that all-wheel drive, and then Corey comes in. She's like, are you hearing this? And she says, no, they pulled him out. So quick, I'll let you explain the story before I start spoiling it.
Well, I almost had the person I was with get the truck and drive it down on the beach. I was like, I got a tow strap. We can wrap that thing. All
right. So what happened was, it was a beautiful Sunday in northern Michigan. It was like 60 yesterday, right?
It was cloudy and windy though. And, so we did some yard cleanup and went to the scrapyard. We had couple fridges and a water heater.
So it's you
big, heavy
and
one.
Your mom or your son, like who's you said we.
She starts out as a friend at the beginning of the story. Okay. She ends up as my girlfriend by the end of the story. So
it's been kind of hard trying to find a 19.
No, it's not hard to find that.
No. Okay. She's also closer to my age, obviously.
Okay. So all right, so you're with a female, and she's helping you clean out. You helping her clean out. Like, what's going on here?
Helping her. Yeah.
Okay. So you're helping her out. You just say, yo, just a friend.
Well, we've had some talks about being more than just friends, but we hadn't taken that leap. And so I just went over there. I got a truck. I had nothing to do that day. So I was like, let's do this. And so we took a couple trips over to the scrapyard. That was fun. Hadn't been to that one before. It was neat, fun.
Before we go any further with the story, I want to check in with our resident therapist to see. I just have a question. Marnie?
Yes?
Is there some kind of, I don't want to call it a disability, Mitch. Is there some kind of diagnosis for men who like to take stuff to the scrapyard for women?
I can't think of it.
I'm trying to see if he's like
the scrapyard in particular. No, I don't. Not at the top of my head. You mean like an addiction to like junk?
Like helping people throw stuff away. Because I think that there's because Mitch, and we both know there's like some rooted stuff behind this.
Well, I mean, I was going to say.
I think if you walk into someone's house, I think you just want to throw trash away. You're like, that is clutter, that's trash, we're not hoarding, and you just throw it away.
So like the opposite.
Because I think a house, maybe he was raised. Obviously,
that would be anything would be close to that would be like OCD to where it's like cleanliness or
I don't think he has OCD, so I think you're in the good.
Are bothersome to them.
It's great. So you've passed my test of just helping somebody out. So you're helping them out. You don't have a disorder or anything.
They asked me to help.
So. And you said yes.
Yes.
You crazy bastard.
Well, it was great. I don't know.
Masters are on. See if you're into sports, you'd be like, oh man, I got to see if.
They let me keep the money for it.
Okay. All right. So yeah. All right. All right. So anyway, scrapyard is where you're going. You're taking stuff there.
Yeah, the cool part was that like this guy's truck died, and then he's like, "Hey, give me a jump." I was like, "I ain't got no cables." He's like, "I do." I was like, "Cool, we'll do that." And we're like in the scrapyard, so I did that, and then at the end, he gave me his jumper cables. He's like, "I find this things all over the place, so just take them." I was like, "Oh, sweet." So I just had to give him a jump his truck, and now I got some new jumper cables. It was pretty sweet. But anyway,
Christmas.
After that, we had to attend both of the people involved, myself and her, have children, teenage children. So you
have a child.
Yeah, I have a child. She has multiple. So
yeah,
we made sure that they were situated and doing what they needed to do. And then we're like, what are we going to do? Let's go on an adventure, whatever.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, Leelanau County, let's head to the beach. Why not? I got those like scoops that are made out of like ski poles. So you don't have to like be on your hands and knees looking for rocks. And everybody knows I'm a rock hunter. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite things being out on Lake Michigan beaches. So last weekend, me and this individual hit up a couple other beaches, and this is my all-time favorite one, so we were going to this one. Before we could even get there, I was like, hey, I have a whole bunch of family from Lake Leelanau. I want to show you where my family's from. So there's actually a street right around the corner from Lake Leelanau, the village, not the lake, that's got my last name. It's O'Brien Road, which is kind of neat. That's where my grandpa lived until he passed a bunch of years ago. But so we stopped there, and this should have been like the foreshadowing, because we get there and there had just been a T-boning accident right in front of the street. So there's a cop and a wrecker and an old man who's hobbling from one car to another. And like, so it was intense, but there was like just enough room in between for me to get into the road. And I was like, we're going to do it anyway. She's like, I can't believe you're doing this. I'm like, this is my street. They can't keep me on my street. It's got my name right there. Mm-hmm. So we go up there and I show her kind of like O'Brien history.
Okay.
That was neat. And then we came out.
I got something for you.
Yeah.
Okay, sad. So you're like, and this is where my grandfather passed.
It kind of was, because right around the corner is the cemetery he's buried in.
Oh, okay.
I was like, there's a whole bunch of O'Briens back in the right corner of the cemetery. It's great.
So you're trying to like prove your worth to her? Okay, so the O'Briens here. We were here since 1863. 12 of us got killed in the Civil War. That's why they named this road after my grandfather. What he did for the North was truly inspiring. They named this whole peninsula after my grandma, Leelanau Mitchell. O'Brien, I mean. Sorry. We'll stop.
The funny thing is, my brother, 3 weeks ago now, had their first.
My brother, 3 weeks ago, had
their first child, a son. They named him Leland, which is
first child, and we named him after my grandmother, Leland. Oh, please, girl. Let's go somewhere to make out. So after all this O'Brien history, it was like the Trail of Tears almost, right? So you're taking through like O'Brien lore. You tell about the brother. Man, this is just insane. It's going great. And then you decide to do what, Mitchell?
Well, we were going to go to the beach next, but I really wanted a picture of O'Brien Road street sign. Obviously, I had never gotten one before. So we get there and this accident is still being cleaned up. It's like they're right up. I mean, it's not a long street. It took us 7 minutes to drive to the end and back. So it's like, whatever.
Emergency services have nothing else to do yesterday or what? They're
Not
just
yet.
milking the clock. Like, hey, there's one call on Sunday.
Oh, they got 2. But yeah, so I'm like parked in the middle of this like wreckage and I'm sitting there like taking pictures.
Not of the accident, but of
No.
the street sign.
And the police officer's off to the left looking at me like, what the hell is this guy doing? And I'm like, I'm an O'Brien. This is my zone. So get out my face.
Shouldn't you be recording me? He's
Yeah.
saying. You used to. You don't want to beat up here.
Oh, and it was funny because I knew one of the guys that was there in one of the cars. So it was interesting. That's, literally where all my family comes from. But yeah, so we left there and went to my favorite beach, which is Vans Beach in Leland, Michigan, right on Lake Michigan, just adjacent to the Manitou Islands. It's great. Fish Town's over there. It's a fun place in the summertime. But I got me some muck boots this winter so I could go rock hunting when it's cold and, you don't want to have bare feet and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got a little overconfident. But we got out there and they decided to dredge the harbor in Leland. It gets really shallow in the wintertime to the point that some of the boats can't get in and out. And when they do that, I guess they have this giant pump that they put in the harbor and this huge hose that goes like 150, 200 yards away down the beach that we want
It's
to
like
go
a
to.
big vacuum. Like how do they dredge? I'm confused.
Something like that. I'm not sure how it works on the harbor side, but I was staring for about 35 minutes right at the receiving end of this thing. It was just a really big tube. Yeah, it was right in front of me. Yeah. So
Get on there and get your rocks.
So it was crazy, like this washout area where this tube is spraying water and sand from the harbor. Like it's covering a area like the size of roughly like a basketball court. So it's like a big deal. It's washed a lot of beach out. And I should have known that was going to make the sand what they were calling unstable later in the story. But I just want to go find some cool rocks, man. They got cool blue rocks there. And so that was what we were doing. And
Were you guys like holding hands and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're like, how'd you do it? Did you just like throw out your hand, just like just touch the fingers, kind of just, just barely, just like, hey, oh, is this your hand? Did you just grab it and like, come over here, woman?
I think she just grabbed it and said, come over here, man.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
cool.
I'm not letting go now if that's what we're doing.
And I was like, thank you for that. I've been wanting to do that for a while.
Let me show you something else.
Not yet.
Let me show you this rock. Let me go grab it. Hold on.
Well, we got through the safe part of the beach to this dangerous part, which I didn't.
So there's signs that say it's dangerous?
There's not, but there actually might be today. But there wasn't at the time. Found a couple cool rocks. It was sweet, but we only had a little section of beach that wasn't affected. And we got over there and I was like, I really want to get to the other side of this washed out area because I think there's good stuff over there. So we're kind of just like picking our way through it. And I'm not paying attention, like looking water direction. And she literally goes, that looks really dangerous over there. And I thought she meant this whole washed out area. But she was pointing at an exact spot in the like where the waves hit the beach, like right there. And so she then turns around to pick a rock up. And she's not paying attention to what I'm doing. And apparently I turned around and beelined it for that spot on the beach. Just went. I could have went anywhere, but I went right there to where she was like, that looks dangerous. And yeah, I got to where the water was about an inch or two thick. Deep. Yeah, it's definitely deep.
Think of something else.
Yeah.
Get to that later.
And the ground just kind of opened up and swallowed me up, and I went down like all this. We've been calling it either like a quicksand sinkhole or like a quicksand hole. And I just want to report, I haven't said this, I've waited for the podcast, is the first thing out of my pockets on my descent into the hole was my phone.
Nice.
Followed by my keys. And I did not have enough time to save the the vape that was on me. But I'm like sitting there with my arms straight up in the air, holding my phone and my keys. And yeah, I had enough time to like, I was trying to turn around. So now my like butt end is pointed straight out to the what feels like a frigid ocean to me. Because the water's not warm right now. Yeah. So
you were up to your waist, was it?
Yeah.
Just about. And because Corey showed me pictures, because I'm like, there's pictures of it?
There's no just about. I was up to my waist.
Like, imagine, like, if you've ever been to the beach, if you've ever been to Lake Michigan or maybe an ocean, you know, like where the water comes up, you know, it's that's sandy. It's kind of hard. You know, you can make like little castles out of it, you know, and you're just walking along and then whoop, I'm up to my waist.
Like everybody knows what wet sand feels like to walk on it. It's a little firmer than dry sand and stuff like that. So I was dealing with that until I wasn't. And it was basically like stepping into liquid almost. And then it just went right up. And I had enough. I tried to turn around and like step out. So I was able to not get my right foot as stuck as my left foot. But my left foot was straight down like I was standing. Even though, like, if you look at the pictures, it's literally waist. I was up to my waist in this quicksand and water. And at first, right when it happened, the water was kind of choppy. So it was like splashing waves up on my back. So it's like water splashing. And that was real fun. But it kind of calmed down after like 15 or 20 minutes.
You got to check in with the therapist again. All right. So what about those guys that there has to be a name for it? Maybe it's in the DSM-5. Guys who want to be saved. Like, is they're out there? I know them. I maybe was one too. Who knows?
I mean, I'm sure there may be a diagnosis that falls underneath like the criteria.
Mitch is taking this. He's taking it
you're
far.
You're being very specific.
Isn't he
so
taking it
I'm
a
gonna
little
go
far?
With no.
Like, hey,
Are you talking about like
hook up with this girl? Watch this.
Like
she likes saving people.
Yeah, you're talking about fixers. You know what they say?
Captainette saving.
That was a comment that was made as a joke while this was happening.
So she was Captain Save a Hoe.
Save a dude, or I don't know.
Captain Save a Douche.
There you go.
Sergeant Save a Douche. That's who you're dating.
Well,
so like you're in this and you're like, oh my God. And you probably realize quickly, like, this is going to be a huge problem. You don't watch Survivor. Marnie and I watch Survivor. We would have made it out of this no problem because you clearly you belly roll on quicksand. We've seen it.
Right.
You know.
So there was a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually my third run-in with quicksand in northern Michigan, which is blowing people's minds. That's why I needed to get pictures of it because I was afraid people weren't going to believe me.
Just it out.
This is the first time I've ever needed to, because last time was on a beach just south of where we were. And it was like last fall-ish, like late August, early September. And I was able to like spin around, get down on my butt and scoop. And so that's kind of what I was trying to do. And it didn't work out. As soon as my left leg went all the way down to where I was waist deep, that deeper sand like hardened. And there was no moving. Like I couldn't wiggle anything. Like that sand just got around it and there was like completely immobilized, even a little bit. So I spent 15 minutes trying to dig myself out with my hands until I did it basically with my hands until I couldn't feel them anymore. And then my like stick thing,
because the water is so cold and
it is very cold. And then so
did you think this is how I'm going to die? Or did you think that your lady friend being the sergeant saver of douches was going to get you out of this?
I'm glad you asked me that question when you did, because she immediately goes into a full-blown
sergeant mode
panic attack.
Oh,
like debilitating panic attack.
Not like
you're going to die.
Cool, calm, collected. Like
this is terrible.
Get through this.
You know, and no, she did it because she cares. You know, she cares, and she was worried about me. But so it quickly turned into me trying to dig myself out and calm her down, coach her through breathing,
so
like calming down. And at one point later on, she's like, "How are you the calm one? You're the one that's in the life-threatening situation, and I'm the one that's freaking out." And I'm like, "Well, you know, it's okay."
I was going to freak out until I saw you freaking out, Sarge. Like, you're definitely not taking you into battle. Jeez. That's horrible. Well, hopefully you didn't judge her too bad because of that.
No, I was actually really thankful that she didn't like leave.
So you're like, we should be dating now. So you get to get the fire department out there to like, throw a lasso to you, and then they tie it to their Jeep.
You're getting ahead of yourself.
Pull you out.
Getting ahead of yourself. So I'm digging myself for like 15, 20 minutes. I think it was more like 15
How's
minutes.
that working out for you?
It's not. So my foot moved maybe an inch in 15 minutes. And that's when I went, I can't get out of this under my own strength. So let's figure out how we do help. And she's like, I'm going to run up to one of these houses. I was like, first off, there's probably nobody home. And if they are, they don't care.
She didn't go grab a stick or something from a tree and be like, hey, like roll it out to you.
She was trying to get close, and I'm like, no. We don't both die in the sand hole on Lake Michigan. You stay over there. I'm like, you're doing the job I need you to do. Keep my phone safe, because if I survive this, but my phone doesn't, Corey Winfield's going to kill me. So I said that actually. But it got to a point where I realized that I wasn't getting anywhere, so I just told her calmly, I was like, it's time to get help. And she's like, I'm gonna run up to this houses. I was like, no, we're going to call 911. Like that's the move here, And in my head, I didn't want to bother them, because it's like, I had convinced myself that they were going to be annoyed that another rock hunter had been messing around in the springtime and fallen in a quicksand hole, and like they have to deal with this and they have to come out because this happens all the time.
There's a lot of silliness in like Bear Dunes over in Glen Arbor or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have signs because there's this big hill and people think, oh, I'll go run down there. And then they don't realize like, oh my God, that is going to take me forever to get back up. So they'll call for help. Well, there's like a penalty, like they'll fine you if you have to call them for help for like that.
That ran through my mind, but there's no signs, right?
You're just thinking, damn.
So I'm like, well, they're just going to be a little annoyed they have to do this again, right?
Probably the first of the season,
Yeah, whatever. And so we call, and the first thing that happens is she's trying to call, and she's like, I can't get my phone to work. And I kind of think she was panicking too much to hit the button straight, but I don't know. I really don't know. Something either, like she couldn't get it to work. So I was like, okay, hand me my phone. So she reaches over, handing me my phone. So I'm calling 911 now from my quicksand hole. She has a picture of me on the phone. My mom saw it, and she's like, looks like you're taking a business call. It's no big deal. I was like, yeah, it's fine.
Beach.
So I put it on speaker because it's like the water is loud. I'm right where the loud water on a beach is where I'm located. And I have it on speaker, and I'm like, hello. And the guy's like, oh, I think it's one of them telemarketers again. It hangs up on me. And I was like, no, don't do that. So I call back, and I don't realize that she's finally getting through to them because she's standing like 20 or 30 feet away because I'm trying to get her away from the danger water, And so I finally get back through to the guy that thought I was a telemarketer. I'm like, can you hear me? He's like, well, yeah, no. And I was like, okay. I'm stuck in quicksand. Obviously. He's like, what address are you at? I'm like, yeah, the Lake Michigan one. Like the one over by the beach. But I explained it to him, and I tried to tell him because there's two entrances to this beach, one way up by Leland and one over by where we are. And I'm like, we're by the south one. South one, EMT guy. You should know your directions. So you'll get to me faster if you go to the south one, right? So about 10 minutes later, I'm skipping all these great things, all these great parts of the story. So as I'm on the phone with the 911 operator, he's like, why are you calling? And so I just say the words, my girlfriend was trying to call and she couldn't get through. And this is the first time I've used that term, even though her and I had spoken about exploring a deeper relationship.
Sexual relationship.
And so he goes, I think your girlfriend's on the other line right now.
Oh, did your heart melt?
I was like,
when you heard those words, someone else referred to her as your girlfriend. We like,
We found out later that the calls happened almost simultaneously. And so I was calling her, my girlfriend, trying to call there while she was saying, my boyfriend's dying in the sand in Leland. So we said that at the same time calling a 911 number, which I'd like to consult a resident therapist about that. If you start a relationship through simultaneous 911
under trauma,
is that considered trauma bonding?
it could be. It could be. Depends on what you do with that.
That's been the joke I've been saying ever since it happened. It's like, yeah, we're trauma bonded. But yeah, no. So 10 minutes later, this guy from the further entrance starts to Baywatch jog down the beach. And I just noticed he has this orange thing and a rope that he bought at Tractor Supply Company.
Man, that's not going to work.
Or he picked it up from the local stable, like farm, because it was literally one of them like stiff ropes that they use for lassos in a rodeo. That's what it was. And it was tied like a lasso and everything. And I was like, so what are we doing here? Like, but she's still kind of freaking out. Like, she's calmed down a little bit. And so I'm trying to make her laugh. So this guy coming up has like this perfect cop mustache. And so I'm like, oh, he's got a mustache. We're good. We're saved. Like, just the fact he's got a mustache is hope. Like, you know, that's what I start talking. If anybody can save us, it's him. He's got the stash for it, you know? And then finally, when he got close enough, the other 3 firemen from the direction I told them to come were on their way. And, so the first thing he does is he hands me this life jacket, this orange life jacket that doesn't fit. And I'm like, okay, like that's cool. And I kind of suspect that that's if my body would have drifted off to sea, they'd be able to find me easier.
Well, when they threw it to you, what'd you do?
I have to get all up in it.
I looked at it like, what the hell is this? I'm standing here. But no, by that time, now there's her and 4 firemen, one holding a lasso, me putting on the stupid life jacket that doesn't fit. And they're all standing like really close to me, but I'm waist deep in sand where their feet are. So I'm looking up at them and I feel like a toddler asking for uppies. Like I'm just trying I'm like, uppy. And so I'm like, so what's the play here, guys? And he's like, we're going to put this over you. And I was like, okay, whatever. And they tighten it down, and this rope is like between my armpits. He's like, we're going to pull you out. I'm like, okay. Well, no, sorry. So first he goes, what we're going to have you do is lay down and roll out. And I was like, that's a great idea. The problem is this leg is straight down, anchoring me to whatever has now consumed my foot. Like, yeah.
You got stuck.
So I was stuck
on the beach.
And he's like, oh. So they start trying to like pull me, like all 4 of these guys, and it's not working. Like all they're doing is cracking my back and my hips and my knees and my legs. Because it did, like every joint from my like shoulders down to my foot on that side all popped.
Like back in the day when they were like
bruising. I imagine
a little bit in my armpits, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say you probably would.
We'd have like they would tie a person's arm to a horse, another arm to a different horse,
drawn and quartered.
Yeah.
I was actually at one point I was like, is my foot gonna stay? Like
that would have messed up, man. If they would have ripped your like half of your body off or something.
Well, and the one guy mustache comes over to me before they start pulling, and they're like, he goes, we might not be able to save your boot. And I'm like, could you save me though? Like, is that in the plan? Because I could care less about what's on my feet as long as I could try and keep those, you know? That's kind of where I'm at. So they start pulling, and I'm trying to push myself, but like the sand.
Were you thinking my pants are coming off? You were like, hey, they're going to pull me right out of my clothes.
No, these are my Adidas. They got real strong, like drawstring. So I was good. I was happy with that. But
this was the perfect chance, the opportunity to show her working with. Maybe she's already seen it. Who knows? But
it wasn't running through my mind at all.
So you're saved. You guys really like, hey, let's go get some.
No,
ice
we're not.
cream now.
We can't go that far yet because they start pulling and I'm not moving. Like I'm pushing. I have one leg free. I was able to free my right leg, but my left leg was just not. There was nothing happening. So like, we need you to push off of this. I was like, do you realize the quality of the sand that you're trying to tell me to push off of? It's like it's still not good right here. So I'm doing my best, but I'm like working with like not hard ground.
There's no video of it.
No video, but there are some
We're
pictures.
we're gonna have to go back because you could have been because there's this thing. It's about criminals, but still, like The Dumbest Criminals or some show. I think it's on Hulu or I don't know, one of those. But man, you could have like Craziest Rescues, like
It was that day, I think.
Man on the Beach.
But no, so this squirrely little guy, he's one of the EMTs. He's there. He's one of the ones trying to help pull me. And so while they're pulling me, realizing I'm not going anywhere and I am trying to help get myself out, he jumps behind me into the danger zone, into the water. And I'm like, dude, don't do that. We'll both be in here.
He's thinking because he's skinny that it's not going to affect him.
And he got too close at one point and started sinking and then jumped out. But then at the same point, he was just like off to the side a little bit. And he started taking like his hands and scooping down and then getting like a lot of sand. And that's when my foot really started to move. But even then it was like suction in there. So it was hard. But once they got me out a little bit, he realized, all right, it's pushing time. Kind of like, you know, when you're having a baby. Yeah.
So you're pushing from your vagina?
Well, they were pulling me. I'm the baby in this situation. So they're pulling me and he's pushing. And I think the lake in the sand is the mother, is how it's working.
Okay. So he had your booty in his hands.
So there was multiple different grab moves that he used to try to help me out
Did you do
of
the
there.
fireman carry?
He was definitely a wrestler in high school. I could tell that because at one point my legs were just slightly spread. So he takes his arm in this scooping motion that goes right between my legs up front to my torso area and does this trying to push me that way, which is, I think that's called like the right upper under hook wrestling slick move.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's not talk.
Yeah. But anyway, and then another point, he abandoned that and just had one hand on each cheek.
Nice.
Pushing. And so
pregame.
So I got to second base with this guy.
Mustache.
Yeah. No, this wasn't mustache. Mustache was first on the rope.
This was
So-
the squirrely dude.
Squirrely dude. You get
It's microphones. That's how it works. Of course, she has to hold her own microphone on
she's doing the real work right now.
Yeah.
But we got me out.
She's not even talking. She's like, I'm holding this for another 35 minutes. And you've laughed a couple times, said your name once.
He's sharing a story. I'm trying
I
not to
know, but
interrupt.
you have to ask questions. Otherwise,
I mean, I'm just blown away. If I wouldn't have seen pictures, I would never believe this was happening.
That's what I said. And I was telling the panic attack girl, you need to take pictures of this. Take a video. And she's like, I'm not taking a picture of you while you're dying. It's not going to. I'm like, no. People aren't. We're going to be okay. We're going to laugh about this. Like, nobody's going to believe us. So we need, So she did get a couple pictures. I was glad. And that's when I had my phone. I was trying to get between 911 calls. I put my phone up in the air and I take a selfie of myself looking down into the sand. But yeah,
well,
so
I mean, I hope it works out for you with you and the girl. But
I have a question. So are we not at liberty to say, are you not at the stage where you share names? Is that what it is? Because Corey did that for me for a while.
Oh.
well, I was going to share names with you guys, but not on the podcast.
Gotcha. That's all good. No, it's okay. I don't. It's not weird because Corey did that when we started dating. He didn't.
I didn't.
My mom, because my mom, man, I had to lay boundaries down.
It was
because if I would have
months.
said your name, she would have Facebook stalked you, sent you a message about how I'm a horrible person,
Yeah.
how I'm a drunk.
I'm not judging.
and
I was just asking.
And I don't. Maybe I mean because I just had my year, but I don't know. It was.
I
it was
didn't,
close. But I laid those boundaries down. So I was like, nope, I got to do this.
I didn't
That's
ask
why.
her if I could use her name in the recording. So that's why I'm
Well,
saying that.
to said girl, I don't feel bad about yourself. It's not about you.
Look, Toshika.
It makes sense.
Look,
Sometimes it
Toshika,
just
we ain't
makes
saying
sense.
nothing bad about you, but we're just saying, like, if you want us to say your name in the future, you got to just let us know. And
It'll come out in the future. But she did what
Sometimes they assume all black people are from African America.
No,
well, I had nothing to do with
nothing.
What are
Corey. What?
That's the only way you can get her to talk right now.
I know.
Obviously. She did exactly what I needed her to do, which was to keep the electronics that I were previously in my pocket safe.
There you
And
go.
so,
She barely. You got to call your own self, man. I don't
Well, we
know.
both got
You're
through.
giving her too much credit here.
no, we both got through. She got.
I don't
she got
think
through
this woman's
eventually.
good enough for you. I don't think she can save your life.
Well, and
I
here's
think
the
she
thing.
freaks out.
No, it's all right. I'm
And-
the like because that's the thing that I had to deal with inside my own psyche while I'm stuck in the
It's
quicksand
like,
hole.
I can't count
Is-
on her. Is that what you were thinking?
No, I'm like I'm the man here. I'm supposed to be able to protect and save and rescue,
That's so 1923, man.
strong, and I'm like, and I'm stuck in a hole of sand, and I can't move. Like I had to, and then like the life vest and the rope, and standing around a bunch of grown men looking at me, discussing on how they're going to get me out of there, and then being groped by another grown man.
All because she
Shooting
couldn't
out.
get you out of the hole. You know, and we don't live in Spencer Dutton days. You know, it's like, what would Spencer Dutton do? You know, from Yellowstone, your favorite show.
Yeah,
You know, you have
never-
or no,
No,
it's not even Yellowstone. It's
1923.
1923. Thank you, but
Yeah.
it's the series. But yeah, because he would have just like kicked that Sand's ass, and he would have like probably shot everybody that went to help him and used their bodies to lift himself out of there.
There's more to the story. So we're crawling off the like. I'm exhausted at
So
this.
this is what I
point.
want pictures of.
Yeah.
This is why we got to go back and redo it.
Well, and I was like, I really should have had her get me a picture of me in the ambulance because there's an ambulance waiting up there because they want to take vitals. They want to make sure I don't have hypothermia and all of that. I'm now dragging ass because I fought for my life for 15 minutes before we even called 911. And then I had to help push my large posterior out of the sand. And so like I'm like dragging my feet. Like I'm trying as hard as I can to get up there. And I finally get up there and they take my vitals and I was good. I wasn't in hypothermia. Like my body temperature was low, but still good.
But you're like chugging along in your muck boots straight from the lake up to the ambulance.
There was so much water in there too, but like I felt like I had aquariums on my feet. Like that's what it felt like. And so yeah, anyway, so we're in there and they asked if I want to go to the hospital. I'm like, no, I'm just cold and wet. Like it's fine. And so they gave me some of their blankets and the one guy comes over and I find out later he's either the police chief or one of the lead guys because they were like, we wanted them to put warning signs down here. We knew something was going to happen. We've been waiting for something to happen. And then the big cheese.
Thank you for sacrificing yourself, Mitchell.
I've been calling
the
it.
better of our community.
I've been calling it community activism.
There you go.
Yeah.
I knew that was
Even
somewhere.
though
somewhere
Sergeant
in there.
Panic Attack called out that spot looks dangerous. No, not Mitch. He
Did you just turn around?
She
the
tried
other
to
way?
warn me, and my oblivious ass just didn't know that's what she was talking about.
and all that bullshit you're talking about, the O'Briens and the history and all the awesomeness that
about-
they did. She's like, that's bullshit. Like, I don't believe this at all.
Let's
her
go
to the
back.
side.
You were
Let's go
adopted.
back to them sneaking through the freaking car wreck to get back there.
It's like, this is the only makeout spot on Sundays I know about. We going.
No, so the guy, he comes over and they're trying to, let her drive, so you can just like be warm and whatever. I'm like, that's fine. She's already got the truck running and everything. She had it warming up for me. And so he goes, like, seriously, strip down to your skivvies and just wrap yourself in this towel. Wrap yourself in this towel and these blankets, right? And let her drive you home and go straight there, get a change of clothes. Because I had like a dry sweatshirt, but I didn't have anything for the lower part. And I
So you
said,
just rode home ass naked in the truck. She drive like, who was driving?
I said, sir,
Imagine we got pulled over.
there's a problem with stripping down to my skivvies today. There aren't
See, I went
the skivvies.
had to go to this ATM earlier. You want to go listen to Bumper Buddies?
Yeah, Bumper Buddies. That
Listen
was
to that
what, last
episode.
week or the week before?
Oh, it was like a month ago. But yeah. So you weren't wearing any underwear.
Yeah. And he goes, oh,
Yeah, it was
he
like,
goes, it doesn't matter. Just wrap yourself in a towel. And I looked at him and I said, sir, you don't know her. Even it's like, this could be a bad idea.
so you're saying hey,
The door's
Sarge,
open at this time and she's looking at me like, you dumbass, don't tell him that. Oh, it was great. But yeah, so then we got in the car, and that's when I was like, I got to take my boots off, and everybody's like, no, don't, just get in and go. I'm like, you guys don't understand what's happening inside these boots. So I pull my boots off, they grab them, and it's just like
Fish falling out and stuff.
Yeah.
an anchor, and there's just like so
Car
much.
parts.
Yeah, exactly.
How
Like,
many rocks did you find in there?
there weren't, and that was the cool part. Is like it took me until yesterday to go look for, because I was putting my rocks in my sweatshirt that I had on in there, and there was 2 handfuls of sand in both my pockets from just being that close in the surf. But I found my rocks.
Yeah, what would have happened if
Got my
like
rocks.
Grandma and Grandpa would have walked down there to have a little afternoon delight on the beach, and they just happened to lay down in that spot?
I know, right? But no,
Maybe
the police chief guy, or not police, the fire chief guy, he goes, there will be signs down here by tomorrow morning. Because I guess it was an argument that was had with city council or whatever. And they're like, no.
Did you want to send him a picture? You can post your picture on the sign.
Yeah, this is what happened.
Tell them don't get Mitchelled out here.
They probably didn't want to put up
Documented.
stuff that was going to discourage people from like making it look like their beaches were unsafe.
Right.
Even though it was just circumstantial.
Well, and this is a beach that a lot of people go to specifically for rock hunting because there's certain rocks there that don't exist other places. So I think what was happening is like they didn't want to discourage people, like you said, to go there because just the fact that these Leland bluestones exist there brings people to Leland and then their economy and all of that.
Right.
Okay, but all of a sudden then we have one sink to death.
Yeah.
And
Well, and the emergency services of the area had been wanting to warn people and was getting pushback from the city. And
Do you
he's
think
like,
they
this
did
is
it
what
on
we needed.
purpose? You think they purposely dug a hole there
Maybe.
and then like framed it in with concrete? Because we were watching, what was that show
Concrete.
on Showtime with the girls who kill everybody and eat them all?
Yellow jackets.
Yeah, Yellow Jackets. It was a very similar thing happened. They didn't fill in the sides with concrete, but I'm sure this EMT team did or whatever, just so they could make their point. But yeah, they just dig a hole and then they put like
Spikes.
spikes, and the chick fell through and she died. But they at least didn't put spikes in there, but you did fall in their concrete hole.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, either way, we drove away. We were happy. I kept my wet pants on until I got home.
Oh man, that'd have
yeah.
been better if you just would have been like, well, that's what we doing.
Doctor's orders.
And then we had to talk
The water
about.
wasn't so cold.
We had to talk on the way, and I said, "You're my girlfriend now." And she's like, "You're my boyfriend now." And so that's where it is.
Very endearing story. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
congratulations,
Mitch.
Mitchell.
No,
You didn't have to do all that though, Mitchell, just to
Yeah.
establish your
Nope.
relationship. You probably
We
could have
kept
found an
saying-
easier way.
We were going on an adventure. That's what we kept saying, and so
There you go.
it was. And I was like,
Check
"Well,
that box.
buckle up because this is how it works."
So next time you say you want to go on an adventure, she's gonna be, let's clarify what that looks
I
like.
tell you, take her out for pizza and interlocking.
Well, that's what we got for dinner.
You didn't walk though, did you?
No.
Nope. Learned your lesson.
No, I wasn't walking very well. That every time, like stairs were really hard. Like when I got I got to the ambulance, and they're like, "Just hop up in there. We're gonna take your vitals." And I was like, "Ugh," and my feet felt like they had cement blocks on them. Like they were exhausted. And so anytime, like even just a couple stairs up into her house, a couple stairs to my house, getting up into my truck, it was like bad. And then we got to the pizza place on our way back to her place, and I just like, she's like, "Are you okay? Do you want me to go inside?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." And I open the door and I jump out of my truck and I just stop for a second and I'm like, "Okay, that hurts." And then I tried to walk it off and play it off like I was fine. I'm like, "No, it's good. It's good. We're good." Yep.
What do you think, Mrs. Smoker?
Well, ask Mitchell what he's doing after work.
Mitch,
Rock hunting.
what are you doing after work?
The same beautiful woman is taking me to the gym.
Okay.
All right.
I just drive you by it. Like,
No.
that's where you need to go.
Nope, not at all.
Working out, huh?
No, we're going to work out. So, but this was on Saturday.
But he's been doing that actually for like the last month, 2 months, 3 months with her.
Well, no, her and I have only went like 2 or 3 times within the last month. So we're gonna be going more regularly now. But this incident happened on Saturday evening. It's now Monday afternoon, so I haven't been able to walk off a lot of the soreness. So,
Well, we can create a warning sign with your picture on it and take it out there. I think that's what we should do as a public service.
we should nail it into the
It's like
sand.
instead of like Smokey the Bear says, it'll be like
I think we should mail
I think you should mail that
picture.
to one of the residents
one of the residents.
Oh, of Leland.
in your mission.
Oh,
You have to mail your flyer of you
hope
saving.
Oh yeah.
We can send a picture of it though to the newspaper and say we want to thank the fire department. Maybe they'll put it front page. There's Mitchell. That'd be awesome.
I know. I asked you earlier. I was like, can I sue the city without getting emergency involved? Because they were really cool. But
Trump cut the funding.
people are sinking on beaches.
Yeah, damn it, Trump.
yeah.
Well, it's Biden's fault. He's the one that let the Mexicans into whatever and blah, blah, blah.
The worst part about it is I didn't get to second base with the person I wanted to until it was technically the next day.
Okay, are we talking about this then?
No, I was gonna go there.
Should go kiss her?
Wait, can
Yes.
I want to go back. I'm going to talk about something really
Okay.
fast on the beach of that I got summoned next door to our neighbors, and actually I have to go back and see him before I leave work. But he was just on a vacation, and he was showing me that he had brought a treasure back on vacation, and it was a baggie full of sand from the Gulf of America.
Oh, jeez.
Wonder how much sand from the Gulf of Mexico goes for.
I don't know.
it's
We
like-
could start selling Leland sand.
Yeah.
Quicksand. No, but I wanted to talk about some other stuff, but I guess we'll wrap it up.
Well, really fast, I want to talk about something.
Okay.
Don't forget about
What? What the hell was that?
That was cute. I liked it. That was
Totally
great.
does not dick pic.
What?
What is happening?
the Driver's Restoration Clinic coming up on the 25th of April at Michigan Works.
Mm-hmm.
Come to the 217 recovery table if you need notary services.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's happening on 25th.
It's a free,
Details,
free event.
17recovery.com. Yeah, if you're looking for your license back. But that's what I was saying. Like, there's other stuff I wanted to talk about, but we should just do another podcast on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Do 2 in 1 week. Holy cow.
Oh my gosh.
Look out. Yeah, because it's picture day. So
Picture
yeah,
day.
yeah, we'll do that because I want to talk about a conversation I had with a guy last week.
And I think Jesse Smoker will be here too, right?
We were talking about it. Yeah. Well, Wednesday he will be. Yeah. And we were kind of talking about it the other day, and I was like, why aren't we doing a podcast about this? Because like we were all having good insight and good stuff, and it was just like, we need to do that. So we'll do that on Wednesday, and we'll talk more about the road to restoration, driver's license. But there's more details, like I said, at 217recovery.com. But all right, well, Mitchell, I'm glad that you're alive. I'm glad that you made it. I'm glad that you have a girlfriend now.
Can I finish with a survival tip?
Yes.
Don't manscape the day that you're going to get stuck in 35-degree water for 35 minutes.
Why not?
Because you'll be warmer if you don't.
There you go.
That's my tip. My survival tip for the people.
And I say trim it up. Because you don't want to be out there and then they tell you get down your skivvies and you got
I was
forest
just about
going
to
on.
say, well, wait a second here.
Yeah.
Where you got no skivvies on.
I think if you wore some undies, maybe that'd keep your balls a little warmer.
I typically do. This was a different day, so
You're like, maybe she go and touch my pee-pee through my jeans and it'll feel better if I don't have no drawers on.
It's because he manscaped.
So he's like, this is how my family does it.
And Mitchell, you of all people shouldn't.
My
live without
grandpa
your
told
second
me,
layer.
if you ever wear jeans and you get around a girl that thinks she's going to touch your little pee-pee, what you do is you don't wear drawers. This is Draws Lane right here. It's where the O'Briens come up with a draws plan. It's where we throw all the draws over here in Leelanau County. The O'Brien Underwear Factory is what the ladies call it.
Your wife is leaving us.
Everybody knows it feels better.
All right. All right. Thank you, Marnie, for being a part of this. I know you said a couple words, but It was Mitch's story, you know. Had to
No,
get-
I know. And it was a great story.
We needed a therapist on site.
Yeah. But we'll talk more on Wednesday, promise. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. Listen to over 900 episodes on the 217 Recovery app that's free in your app store or online at 217recovery.com.